For those who are new to this channel, hi. As many of you already know, last year's Call of Duty campaign was an undeniable dumpster fire. It's the absolute worst in the entire franchise. Now, before you say anything about me copying content from anyone else here on YouTube, just know that I have indeed seen other Modern Warfare 3 campaign rewrite videos. What set this video apart from those, however, is that today I will be completely rewriting the campaign for you. We are throwing the old plot into the garbage and starting off on a clean slate. The only two things that we are keeping are the characters and the opening mission. Now, without further ado, let's fix the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. We keep the opening scene of Makarov's Kony group infiltrating and breaking Makarov out of the Gulag and escaping from the original story. After the scene of him escaping, we then cut to Task Force 141 consisting of Price, Ghost, Gaz, and Soap, airdropping from a cargo plane inside of a tactical motorboat to chase down Makarov's naval entourage. We play as Ghost mounting a machine gun on the boat as we pick off enemy rocket launchers one by one. Once you get to Makarov's boat, you cut to a third-person cutscene. In the cutscene, you attempt to board, but you, Ghost, get shot while in action. The bullet misses the helmet and nails you in your skull. Ghost's injured body collapses back into the boat, and a panicking Captain Price tends to his comrade while the rest of his team infiltrate the boat. Makarov and his leading officers escape from the big boat via a smaller, faster boat. Out of range and out of ammo, a defeated Task Force 141 report mission failed and call for medevac. We skip to a cutscene of Makarov addressing his Kony terrorist group, rallying his top commanders and soldiers to spread and conquer other governments in order to win the fight against the evil Western imperialists. He kills off two of his officers in suspicion of betrayal and appoints Andre as his second in command. Later in the hospital, Ghost lays in a coma, barely hanging on to his life as friends gather around him. Deep within his consciousness, we enter a combat memory mission where Ghost helped to stop Russian ultranationalist terrorists working for Kony back in Al-Mazrah. This ties back to the Modern Warfare 3 Warzone reveal event. Ghost helps the American military and unknowingly Shadow Company retrieve the gas canisters with his buddies when one of the helicopters is hijacked by the secret Russian terrorists. He remembers shooting down hijacker helicopters left and right, and then getting his helicopter shot down and him surviving the crash. He remembers shooting down what they thought to be the last hijacked helicopter, but it turns out one helicopter made it back to Kony's secret base. Ghost wakes up from his coma, telling his crew members that he just now remembered that one more helicopter made it back to Kony, and that Makarov's next target is Vienna, Austria, according to what he heard over the enemy intercom. 141 springs into action, acquiring the help of their old friend Yuri. Task Force 141 travels to Vienna undercover to kidnap and interrogate agents. We play as Yuri as we go undercover and interrogate captured agents. After finding out that Makarov is combining nuclear technology and drones to deliver toxic gas, a terrorist attack begins in the city. With the help of the police and the military, 141 repels the attack and captures Kony's terrorist soldiers. Following the capture of enemy soldiers, General Shepard and Graves discuss whether they should relieve Task Force 141 of their duty due to their failed mission to kill Makarov at the Gulag, or whether they should keep them due to their success of repelling the Vienna terrorist attacks. Eventually, they come to the agreement that Task Force 141 will be taken care of once they finish their mission of killing off Makarov once and for all. We cut back to Price and his team in a voice call with Laswell, informing them of their next combat mission: sabotage a Kony base harboring a drone factory. In the mission, you play as Captain Price. You have the choice to either go in guns blazing with your NPC allies, or sneak in and direct your troops through the back doors. Either way you choose, you end up capturing the drone factory and revealing a bit of Makarov's plans. They find out that Makarov has a total of 2,500 drones loaded with gas ready to deploy. They just don't know when or where he plans to deploy his weapon, or where the drones are harbored. Later in the Discord VC, Price informs Laswell of the new intel, to which she responds by assigning 141 a new mission: starve, trap, and capture or kill enemy number 1, codenamed Operation Golden Dawn. The team sends Soap and Gaz on a mission to find Makarov's supply train and sever it before he can get more weapons. They send Price and Ghost to secure Moscow airports so that Makarov can escape, and they send Yuri and Nikolai to Kazakhstan to destroy a Kony base there and find out what Makarov's targets are before they can hunt him down and assassinate him. The next campaign mission drops you into the boots of Gaz, paired up with Soap in the Belarusian countryside. You are hiding in a bush near a railway with a light machine gun and a detonator. Soap reminds you that the objective is to disable the armored train, destroy the Makarov supply line, and capture the commander to see if he has any information concerning Makarov's intended targets. Once you trigger the bombs on the train tracks when the train comes, you signal your allied troops and tanks to begin the assault and boarding of the armored train. The attack is played like a boss fight, with each gun turret being a target. Along with this, a group of enemy soldiers come out to fight you to defend the train. Once you defeat the train and get to the door to the driver's cabin, you go to a third-person cutscene where you breach into the train and capture its commanding officer. Following the capture of the train, you interrogate the officer with a gun in your hand. You and Soap are able to get one crucial piece of information out of him, which is that Makarov's gas drones are programmed to target 5 different cities in the world, those of his enemy Western countries. After relaying the information to Laswell in Central Command, you hop on a railway command center computer in order to guide other supply trains to the destroyed track and capture more enemy men and weapons. The computer section of the mission has you direct the trains on the digital grid towards the broken track so that they never reach Moscow nor Makarov. You also get to select airstrike targets on other railroads that lead to Russia, luring all the other enemy trains to the already destroyed track. After the train controlling mini-mission ends, you cut to another cutscene of Soap and Gaz being informed that something has started. The players left to ponder what this is as the next section of the campaign begins. The next campaign mission drops you into the boots of Captain Price, accompanying Ghost at the Moscow International Airport. Multiple other allies covering different airports in Russia. Your mission is to go undercover and silently eliminate 6 different corrupt airport officials, leading Kony-affiliated POIs past through the security with weapons and valuable intel. They are scattered all across the airport map. You and Ghost are armed with suppressed pistols in order to eliminate the targets while remaining hidden in the crowd of civilians. Once you kill all 6 of them, your next objective is to plant in your own 6 guys that are trained to counter the Kony spies attempting to escape Russia. You are supposed to guide them to the same spots that the corrupt officers once were, and place them where they will be able to do their job effectively enough to keep Makarov's international operations at bay. Right when you place your final agent in their last position, a thunderous explosion, followed by multiple gunshots, erupt on the other side of the airport. Ghost hastily presumes that Kony troops have arrived to take over the airport by military force. We cut through a third-person mini-cutscene of Price and Ghost equipping their vests and grabbing SMGs out of small black backpacks to fight the terrorists shooting up the airport. You cut back to gameplay with the objective of killing all the shooters. If a shot lands on a civilian, the game will not stop. But if the game senses that you are just shooting the civilians, then you have to start the mission all over again. Once you kill all the shooters, you find a phone on one of the enemy bodies, still on. Once you pick up the phone, a short first-person cutscene shows you, Price, reading the text and finding out that Kony airborne troops realized what Ghost and Price were doing, too late for them to stop them stealthily, so their orders were to get out of their planes and seize the airport by force with 3D printed weapons. We then cut to another cinematic cutscene where the first responders count a total of 109 civilians killed and around 200 wounded. Price informs Laswell the airport is under Allied supervision and that their mission was a success with heavy civilian casualties. Ghost then informs Price that something is going on. We get a panicked look on Price's face as we cut to the next mission. The next section of the campaign takes place in northern Kazakhstan, in the eyes of Nikolai, being accompanied by Yuri and a small force of Russian defect soldiers and the ULF. You are piloting an attack helicopter advancing towards a Kony base. Multiple other helicopters are with you in the air. Your mission is to use your machine gun and rockets to destroy all the anti-air and anti-infantry defenses in order to clear a path for your ground troops to advance and take the fort. Yuri is in another chopper, awaiting orders to land once the space has been cleared of anti-air. Once you take down all targets on the helicopter, the enemy releases an anti-chopper bomb drone towards you. The drone dodges your bullets and rockets and strikes your helicopter down. There's a shaky, dramatic first-person cutscene of Nikolai in the cockpit as a helicopter plummets into the ground once it strikes the hull. Nikolai wakes up from the wreckage with a wounded right leg. When Allied infantry offer him a ride back to a medic, Nikolai refuses, grabbing an assault rifle and a vest. You control a wounded Nikolai into the base, shooting at Kony soldiers and pushing into the core of the facility. Once you reach the final gauntlet of the base, you find and capture Makarov's second-in-command, Andrei Nolan. After he is captured, Nikolai, along with Yuri and some other soldiers, take a look at some papers on his desk in a cutscene. We find out that Makarov and Kony have manufactured way more gas drones than expected. They arrived too late to stop their deployment. 5 different drone-carrying missiles launch from the ground around the base, violently shaking the ground beneath their feet. Nikolai notices a map on the wall with 5 thumbtacks marking Makarov's target cities: DC, London, Paris, Berlin, and Kiev. He grabs his radio and makes a special broadcast to the rest of TF-141 all over the world, announcing that the drone missiles are in the air and that they need to stop them in a limited time that they have. We have another cutscene of everyone's reaction to Nikolai's news, all shocked and afraid. Since they are all scattered everywhere and can't come together in time to stop the missiles from deploying their drones, they contact Farah to help them out. We switch perspectives as the scene changes to Farah and her ULF soldiers in an AC-130 gunship flying at Atlantic Ocean airspace. Instead of aiming downwards on a ground-based facility in this mission, you are instead aiming at other airborne targets, attempting to stop a DC gas attack. The missile is flying at you at high speed, and the commander orders you to fire a guided light missile at the incoming warhead. Once you fire the guided missile, you get a camera showing where your missile is going. Right before you hit the missile, something launches from inside of it. When you switch back to your crosshair camera, you see that the missile launched a large unmanned aerial vessel harboring gas drones. Your objective is to then destroy the UAV before it can deploy all of its drones. Once you destroy it, around 20 of the 200 drones it harbored deploy before the explosion. You then have to shoot down all of the drones in the air with a machine gun before they can reach the ground. When you kill all of the gas drones, your AC-130 is abruptly shot down by a Russian gunship. A cutscene shows the gunship diving down into the ocean, with Farah jumping out of the plane at the last second. Once she lands in the water, she removes her vest and grabs her pistol in one hand. A U.S. Coast Guard speedboat is patrolling the coast, so your next objective is to reach the boat before sharks pick up on your blood and eat you in the water. You can shoot the sharks in the water to protect yourself. Once Farah makes it to the boat, she gets escorted to the shore. We then cut to another cutscene of a similar situation occurring in Kiev, Ukraine. A flying missile streaks through the clouds and deploys its drone carrier, releasing hundreds of them into the streets of Kiev. You are dropped into the perspective of a Ukrainian soldier armed with an assault rifle and a rocket launcher who is given orders to shoot down as many drones as possible before they deploy their gas. Using your rifle and or rocket launcher, your goal is to take out 30 drones in your area. Obviously, you and your comrades are not able to kill all the drones before they deploy their gas into the city. Once you kill 30 drones, you cut to another target city in another perspective. You are now a German Luftwaffe fighter pilot flying through the air above Berlin. Your objective is to use your rockets to completely destroy the missile before it can deploy its drone carrier. If you destroy the missile after it deploys its drone carrier, you switch perspectives to a Luftwaffe helicopter gunner with the objective of destroying 40 gas drones. If you destroy the missile before it deploys its drone carrier, or if you destroy 40 drones, you then are carried to another part of the world, Paris. You were a French boat gunner on a military exercise in the Seine River just southeast of Paris. You observe the drone carrier being deployed and notify your higher-ups. You then are tasked with gunning down as many drones as you can in a 2-minute time period. Once you do that, you are switched to London in the perspective of a first responder tending to the injuries of British citizens suffering from the gas. While the British military and police do their best to repel the gas attacks, your task is to guide a group of civilian NPCs into an emergency bunker and hand out gas masks. While this nightmare is unfolding around you, you do your best to calm down the masses by reassuring them that everything will be alright eventually. One woman in the crowd cries that her child is lost out in the city surrounded by the gas, so you have to run back out into the city and recover the suffering child. You have around 1 minute to retrieve the child and return him to the bunker, where he will be safe from the gas. Once you complete that mission, you cut to a cutscene of a bird's eye view of all the affected target cities riddled with puddles of gas, wrecked drones, and civilian bodies. The next cutscene takes us to Price, Ghost, Soap, Gaz, Nikolai, and Yuri mourning the supposed death of Farah, doing her best to save Washington, D.C., as well as thousands of civilian lives. Then we are taken back to their Discord VC, where they discuss finding and capturing Makarov before he can do any more harm to anyone else. Laswell mentions that Russian defect soldiers report Makarov's secret hideout location in Riga, Latvia, where no one would find him. Laswell, Price, and the rest of the crew devise a plan to ensnare him in his own house and capture or kill him in any way necessary. Our next mission drops us into the boots of Yuri, accompanied by the rest of Task Force 141 as we sneak into a house in Riga, much resembling the Clean House mission from Modern Warfare 2019. Armed with an assault rifle, NVGs, and a pistol, you encounter many Coney bodyguards armed with pistols within the house. As you advance up the floors of the compound, there are more and more enemies to face. Once you get to Makarov's planning room, Gaz breaches the door and steps into the room first, falling victim to a claymore in the doorway. He dies instantly from the explosion. As Ghost runs to his broken body and tries to tend to his wounds the best he can, the rest of the team enter the room. Makarov has his hands in the air, indicating surrender. Price aims his rifle at him as Yuri, zip-tie his hands. Price informs Laswell that the mission is accomplished and that Makarov is in custody. Yuri informs Price that something isn't right with this whole situation, and that Makarov has one more plan up his sleeves. Price asks him what he's talking about and how he knows this. Makarov calls Yuri "my friend," and informs Price that Yuri used to work with him on his plan for world domination. Price is infuriated with this information, leading him to conclude that Yuri is a traitor. Makarov says that Yuri was a big part of his big secret project, a completely new type of nuclear weapon which he calls a hyper-nuclear missile, one with enough power to tear a hole in the crust of the Earth 300 miles wide. As Makarov says this, Yuri has first-person flashbacks to working on the construction of the missile with crony officials. Makarov then activates a hidden trigger mechanism that launches the missile from an undisclosed location somewhere, while telling Task Force 141 that they have around 10 minutes to stop the missile from reaching its target, the center of Europe. With that, Makarov breaks his zip ties and escapes out a secret door in the wall, also abruptly that no one has time to stop him. Price angrily sends Soap and Ghost after him while he gets the help of Laswell to launch a counterattack missile at the incoming enemy missile. Sending the fastest weapon in the US inventory, Laswell guides the counterattack missile herself, putting you in her eyes through a monitor. Your objective then is to hit the hypernuke. If you miss the hypernuke, then you get to cut to a small cutscene where you get a bird's eye view of the missile striking its target. It would then force you to start over and complete the objective. If you destroy the missile, then the story continues. Upon destroying the hypernuclear missile, a bright light from the enormous mid-air explosion erupts on the horizon, illuminating the nighttime Latvian sky all the way to Makarov's stronghold. Meanwhile, Ghost and Soap hop in an APC and chase down Makarov's escape car entourage in a high-speed car chase down the Latvian highway. Playing as Ghost, you control the turret of the APC and shoot at Coney RPG trucks trying to kill you and Soap. At the same time, you have to dodge the civilian cars on the road coming your way. Once you destroy all of Makarov's convoy cars, Soap advises you to fire at Makarov's gas tank. Once you do, his car runs off the road and crashes. The APC parks on the side of the road next to a river. Ghost and Soap hop out with guns pointed at the windows of the crashed car. Makarov pulls out a pistol and fires at Soap, hitting him in the leg. You, Ghost, shoot Makarov in the shoulder, causing him to drop his gun. You enter a first-person cutscene in which you pin down Makarov on the ground, causing him to rant about how someone will always be inspired by him to start their own terrorism and repeat the cycle of violence. You then get to choose your final words to say to him before you kill him. After Ghost says his kill quote, you press both triggers at the same time to drown him in the river by the road. A cutscene then shows Task Force 141 outside of Makarov's stronghold. We see Ghost mourning Gaz's bleeding, lifeless corpse, and Soap having his wounds treated by Latvian first responders. Price and Yuri are behind the compound, with Price pistol-whipping Yuri for being a traitor. Price yells at him and asks him how long he has been working against them. Yuri answers by telling him that for the entirety of him being with the team, he wasn't against them. He tells us that before Makarov was incarcerated, he vowed to change his ways and do everything in his power to never allow him to carry out his plans after he realizes that Makarov didn't want to bring glory and prosperity to Russia, and that he just wanted glory and prosperity for himself. Price lowers his pistol and pulls Yuri up to his feet. He tells him that he is no longer an enemy, but he is not forgiven either. Another cutscene plays following Makarov's deaths in Nikolai's base in Nuristan. Laswell greets the team as they enter and informs them that Coney forces all over the globe are crumbling due to lack of leadership. In the background, a TV is broadcasting a special report informing the world that in the recent gas attacks, a total of 30,000 people have died, making it the deadliest terrorist attack in human history. The team is grieved by this information, but Price reminds them that if it wasn't for them, there'd be many more people that would have died. Soap agrees with him, and then the team get a video call from General Shepard himself. Shepard informs Task Force 141 that they have been relieved of duty now that Makarov is dead. Price and Laswell protest this decision since they still have orders to keep the peace whenever they are needed. Shepard replies by telling them that Graves and the rest of Shadow Company have surrounded their building and have orders to fire on any one of them if they try to leave. Soap is enraged by the news that Graves is still alive. Laswell suggests that they stand down in order to avoid death or capture, to which Price disagrees, saying that they need to find a way out of the base. This causes a split in the team between people who suggest giving in to save their lives and the people who don't want to give up and stop Shepard and Graves from doing more harm. Price, Ghost, and Yuri want to fight back, while Laswell, Soap, and Nikolai want to prevent further bloodshed. General Shepard takes advantage of this internal chaos to order Graves to level the building. A Shadow Company helicopter then bombs the base, separating the team and knocking some unconscious. The next mission opens with a first-person cutscene in the eyes of Captain Price, injured on the ground. The flaming wreckage of the base is all that is seen. No one in his team is within his sight, and he has to evade capture or death by the Shadow Company soldiers patrolling the area. Once you use your stealth while prone to escape the wreckage, you encounter an enemy scout outside the base who spots you and alerts everyone else in the area. Just when the pandemonium starts, Farah on her motorbike comes through and rescues you. You hop on her vehicle and speed away as enemy soldiers try to shoot you and Farah down. After the escape mission, you watch a cutscene taking place after Price's escape from the base. He and Farah are meeting together in a ULF base, converging on what has happened and where is everybody else. Farah explains that Soap, Laswell, and Nikolai have been captured by Shadow Company and are being held in a high-security prison. She then says that Laswell gave her information that Shepard wanted to take advantage of a divided globe to gain power for himself and use Graves to execute his plans. She also explains that Ghost and Yuri ran off after the bombing and that she knows where they are, and Price and Farah make a plan to get the team back together and kill Shepard and Graves once and for all. The plan is to track Ghost and Yuri down by their radio signals, and then work together with ULF troops to free the rest of TF-141 and kill both Shepard and Graves. Price asks how do they get into prison, to which Farah responds by showing him a wall with equipment on it. There are two sniper rifles to choose from, the Victus XMR and the Cat AMR. You also get to choose an SMG from your secondary weapon, either the WSP Swarm or the Vel 46. There are also some tacticals and lethals, as well as a choice of vests, gloves, and boots. They're also in the multiplayer, bridging the gap between the two modes of gameplay. Once you choose your equipment, you go back to a short cutscene of Farah rallying her men and preparing for battle. Price then makes a call to Alejandro and Rodolfo from Modern Warfare 2 to help. They comply and ship out to their next assignment with the ULF and Price. The second to last mission of the campaign takes place on a small European peninsula where a prison is run by Shadow Company PMC guards. In the boots of Price with your loadout of choice, your task is to take out the outlying prison guards to clear the path for the ULF infiltration team. Once all the guards are taken out and the ULF push forward, you switch to your SMG and infiltrate the prison. You go kill all the guards and rescue Soap, Nikolai, and Laswell from their cells. After you escape the prison with your teammates, you encounter a Shadow Company reinforcement regiment with an APC. Just when they are about to kill you, Ghost, Yuri, Alejandro, Rodolfo, and Los Vaqueros come in and kill them with the help of TF-141. For this, Captain Price forgives Yuri at last. Everybody meets up and meets back at Farah's base and plans the destruction of Shadow Company, as well as its two leaders. Ghost and Yuri confirm that Shepard and Graves are leading a convoy into Moscow to lay waste on Russian civilians behind the excuse of alleged weapons caches. But then Laswell informs them all that Shepard wants to do more than kill civilians. She says that he also wants to find the digital files of Makarov's hypernuclear missile program and use it to build world-dominating weapons. The group is shocked by this news, and they all formulate a plan to stop their enemies from affecting more lives. Their plan is to split their convoy attack into two parts, one to take on Shepard, the other Graves. Ghost, Price, Nikolai, and Laswell are to take on Shepard, while Soap, Rodolfo, Alejandro, and Yuri are to kill Graves. Once the Shadow Company convoy gets on the road to Moscow, they are to plant an underground charge to disrupt their path and then to attack them with Los Vaqueros and ULF troops. To make sure that nothing like this ever happens again, their final objective will be to completely delete and destroy any and all files containing Makarov's missile plans. The final mission takes place in the eastern part of the Kursk Oblast in southwestern Russia on a road leading to the capital city. A cutscene shows us a C4 charge planted in the road, and then we see Rodolfo with the detonator in his hands ready to sever the incoming enemy armor column. Soap is prone with Rodolfo, hiding behind an abandoned wooden shed next to the road. Rodolfo triggers the explosive, successfully completing Phase 1 of their plan. Now it's on to Phase 2. We step into Rodolfo's perspective, armed with a Joker, rocket launcher, and an assault rifle. The objective pings Graves' troop transport vehicle as attack. After firing 3 rockets at the vehicle, it stops and unloads 3 Wheelson HS Rovers. Once you and your teammates kill all 3 Wheelsons, Graves himself pops out of the vehicle with a Juggernaut armor suit on him. He shoots you, Rodolfo, in the collarbone, permanently putting you out of business. After a heavily armored Graves hops out of the truck to shoot everybody else down, you see a first-person cutscene through the dying eyes of Rodolfo, seeing Alejandro throwing a Molotov at Graves, forcing him to take his armor off. Once he takes off his armor, we go into a third-person camera perspective of Alejandro repeatedly stabbing Graves in the face until he bleeds out and permanently dies. After the death of Graves, Alejandro runs to Rodolfo's aid, but it is too late. Rodolfo dies, and we see Alejandro in third person weeping at the loss of his friend. We then see the other team advancing to take on Shepard. In the eyes of Price, which is you, Laswell, Ghost, and Nikolai launch RGL-80 grenades at General Shepard's APC in an attempt to explode his gas tank. You eventually destroy the vehicle and scan the area for his body. After not finding any sign of Shepard, you turn around and find Shepard and a Shadow Company soldier escaping on an ATV. You hop on a small ATV of your own, provided by the ULF, and chase Shepard down to farm fields and forests. While a Shadow soldier is driving Shepard away from the fight, Shepard himself has an LMG of his own and opens fire on you as you chase him. Shepard eventually takes out your ATV as you chase him down, allowing him time to escape. Everybody in the ATV except the ULF driver survives the crash, and Laswell hands you a bomb drone to manually kill Shepard. You then have to fly the fast bomb drone to General Shepard's vehicle and detonate it yourself. Once you do so, you and everyone else inspect the site in a first-person cutscene. All of a sudden, Shepard, still alive, sprays a wall of lead with his LMG towards you and your squad, killing Ghost in the process. In response to this, you shoot Shepard in the chest and he drops his weapon. As he slowly chokes on his own blood, you look down on him and you are given 3 ways to finally kill General Shepard. Either throw a knife at his head, referencing the original Modern Warfare 2 game, shoot him in the head with your pistol, or stomp on his head and crush his brains. Any way you choose, you kill Shepard and switch to another third-person cutscene where Price runs to Ghost's body and kneels down in somber silence. The scene then changes to 1 month later as Laswell permanently deletes the last of Makarov's old plans for the hypernuclear missile inside Nikolai's hangar, while the remnants of the broken TF-141 now reside. In the background, a news channel reports that international relations have soured in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks and that no one knows what will happen next in terms of foreign policy. Price, Alejandro, Nikolai, Soap, Laswell, Farah, and Yuri all gather around an ofrenda altar with pictures of Gaz, Ghost, and Rodolfo on it. Price then gives one final voiceover talking about how the world is dirtied. He and the ones who will remain will still enter the call to clean up the pieces. Which call do they answer? The Call of Duty. Roll credits.